I want to say something more about the way art tells lies. Um, I'm going to just jump to kind of one of my own examples here. Um, One of the things that if you've ever seen a picture of the Taj Mahal is like one of the great wonders of the world, one of the really crazy, beautiful things in the world. And if you just Google search, try it now. If you just go Google search the Taj Mahal, you will see this incredibly gorgeous building, and it is just one of the most beautiful things that you've ever seen. It's amazing, and I've been there. Um, and when I put the picture up, my students often laugh because they think what I'm going to say is that look how beautiful it looks. I've been there. It doesn't look like that. It looks beautiful in the photographs, and I've been there, and it looks exactly like that. When I stare at the Taj Mahal, it is like looking at a postcard. It is truly one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my entire life. Um, in which case, I guess, the photograph that you're seeing of the Taj Mahal is accurate. It accurately represents reality. But there's something it doesn't accurately represent, which is that when people, one thing you'll notice when you look at pictures of the Taj Mahal, they're almost all taken from the exact same spot. There's this one spot when you first enter into the courtyard or whatever. There's one spot where everybody stands to get the picture of the Taj Mahal. Um, and when I literally, when I see if I Google, if you Google search it and you see the picture, like I've stood exactly where the camera person is standing. What they don't tell you though is that the Taj Mahal, the surrounding area looks like a disaster zone. The Taj Mahal is beautiful, but as soon as you exit the walls of the Taj Mahal, because the Taj Mahal is located in a small city, when you see the city that the Taj Mahal is located in, it is disastrous. It is covered in garbage and filth, and there are just like animals scrounging through the trash, and there are tires that people are lighting on fire, and mattresses that people are lighting on fire, and people are living. The Taj Mahal is this incredibly expensive, beautiful thing, but people are living in these little shacks with just like a piece of tin and a piece of wood, and it's like a little tent that people have made. They're called favelas. Um, and it's just kind of like ramshackle, and they're sleeping on people's homes. They're sleeping on the ground. So even when you feel like the Taj Mahal is being accurately represented, when you see a picture of the Taj Mahal in India, and whenever I teach this, students who are from India or who have been to India, they nod and they're like, "Oh shit, Professor Clark is right." That when you see a picture of the Taj Mahal, it looks beautiful, and that's accurate. But in order to get that, even when you think like a photograph is accurate, but what are you cutting out of the photograph? That is a distortion. That is part of the lie. And Oscar Wilde would celebrate. I don't care about the stuff surrounding the Taj Mahal. I just want to see the beautiful Taj Mahal. Don't show me all the horrible poverty that is in the surrounding area. But the point is that even things you think of as realistic, just a photo, you just took a photograph of the Taj Mahal. That's realistic. But in art, first of all, art often distorts. But even when it's not trying to distort, even when it's being 100% accurate, um, it's choosing what to show you. And you all know this because you have Instagram accounts or you have, social media accounts. And one thing you probably know is that you will take 100 pictures of yourself, but you'll only post one. And then people are like, oh, look how beautiful that person is. But they didn't get to see the 999 pictures that you deleted of yourself where you look terrible. Instagram, it's accurate in the sense that these are photographs of real people, but Instagram, you're choosing what to show people. This is why Instagram makes people depressed, is because you see your friends on Instagram and they all look beautiful and they all look like they're having so much fun. And then you say, why aren't I that good looking? Why aren't I having that much fun? And it's an unfair comparison because you're comparing their careful selection of moments to your whole life. That's not fair. You can't. It's apples and oranges. You can't compare those two things. So it's misleading to people. For example, I got hit by a taxi a couple of years ago, and I broke my arm. And when I'm pretty short, I'm only 5'3", and I was wearing jeans and a tank top. And my sister, to cheer me up, sent me these Wolverine claws because Wolverine's only 5'3". And not in the movies, he's taller. He's supposed to be small in the comics. I'm a big X-Men fan. Trust me on this. And my sister sent me these Wolverine claws, like a toy, to like put in. And I took a photograph because I was healing. My injury was healing, and Wolverine is famous for being able to heal very quickly. I remember the X-Men, and that's his superpower or whatever, one of his superpowers. So I took a picture of myself, and I got my broken arm, and I got my Wolverine claw, and I was like, ah. So my friend Holly had contacted me and her husband had very serious cancer that he died from it. And actually, you'll know his name. His name is Jim Tolan, and he gives the name to the BMCC Writing and Literature Award is named after him. So her husband had very serious cancer and was very sick, and she wrote me to say, Jeff, how do you manage to stay so positive? Because she sees all these pictures of me with a broken arm, and I'm smiling, and I got my Wolverine claws, and I'm making jokes. And she said, how do you manage to stay so positive, when this terrible stuff is happening? And I was like, Holly, I'm not positive. Everything is terrible. I'm crying every day. I don't want to have a broken arm. I want to go do fun shit. But she was just basing my life off of a handful of photographs that were not. It really was me with the Wolverine claws. It wasn't like somebody photoshopped it. It's accurate. But what did I cut out? I'm not taking pictures of myself sobbing in the bathroom, right? I mean, that's not good for social media. You don't put that on Facebook. The point is Oscar Wilde's really interested in the way in which art distorts. Right? And it's the same thing that you see that Plato said. Oscar Wilde and Plato agree. Art distorts. The problem is that Oscar Wilde thinks the distortion is good because it gives us beautiful things. And Plato thinks the distortion is bad because it takes away from the truth, and our mission in life should be to locate the truth. Okay, we're doing good. Barreling through here. All right, cool. Let's keep going. I just realized I forgot to say the timestamp for this video, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. All right, so then they move on to talk. Actually, I think I may have jumped ahead a little bit, but they. So he says, art, fortunately, has never once told us the truth. And Cyril, who's an idiot, says, but modern portrait painters by English painters, what of them? Surely they are like the people they pretend to represent. So he says, like a lot of people will just paint your picture, right? You can get a portrait of yourself painted. And he said, that's got to be accurate, right? I mean, obviously, those paintings look like the people. And Oscar Wilde says, quite so. He says, they are so like them that hundreds of years from now, no one will believe in them. The only portraits in which one believes are portraits where there is very little of the sitter and a great deal of the artist. Holbein's drawings, Holbein does realistic pictures of people. Holbein's drawings of the men and women of his time impress us with a sense of their absolute reality. This is simply because Holbein compelled life to accept his conditions, to restrain itself with his limitations, to reproduce his type, and to appear as he wished it to appear. You see what he's... Now, you don't need to know a ton about this to understand that the point is that Holbein painted realistic pictures, but he did it his own way. He made them look the way he wanted to. He gave them limitations. He had a type he was trying to make copies of. He was doing his own thing, his type of thing. And to appear as he forced it to appear as he wished it to appear. So he says, but most people who paint pictures, they just copy reality, and their pictures will be forgotten in 100 years. But Holbein, he painted pictures, and he was a true artist who chose interesting things to paint pictures of, and his stuff will last longer because it's him. And the point is that Cyril is saying, doesn't this tell us about the people sitting for the portrait? And Oscar Wilde says, I don't care about the people sitting for the portrait. I care about the guy making the portrait and what did he add. So when Oscar Wilde goes to a gallery and he sees pictures of people, he doesn't care about the people. He cares about the way the artist created the picture. Did the artist get the light? Did they do something interesting with the light? Did they do something interesting with the color? Did they do something interesting with the shadow? And that's what Oscar Wilde's really interested in. And there's one of Oscar Wilde's great lines is at the end of this paragraph. He says, most of our modern portrait painters are doomed... Oh, sorry. It is style that makes us believe in a thing, nothing but style. So if you have a good style, if you make something cool that people like, that will make them care about it. But if you're just realistic, that's not a style. That's reality. Reality doesn't have a style. Reality is just reality. He says, most of our modern portrait painters are doomed to absolute oblivion, meaning everybody's going to forget all about them. They never paint what they see. They paint what the public sees, and the public never sees anything. Because for most people, they just accept reality as it is. And so if you make a picture and it looks just like reality, the public loves it. But history will forget all about you because you didn't do anything new. You just gave the public what they wanted. And he says the aim of an artist is not to give the public what they want. It's to do your own weird thing and to follow your own sort of path and to have style, your own personal style that other people don't have. And one of the things I think that makes manga and anime so popular is it's heavily stylized. It doesn't look realistic. There's a style to it. And you can tell, if you know your cartoons, you can tell just from the style who made the cartoon. Is it realistic? No, but if somebody draws a character, you can tell. Is that from The Simpsons, right? Is that from Adventure Time? Is that from Steven Universe? Is that from, right? And is it She-Ra? You can tell just from looking at it. All right, I'll pick you guys up in the next video.